What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and it is time for a monthly market report. And I have a question. Did we go to sleep in 2020 and all of a sudden wake up in 2024 where the house that was $300,000 in 2019 is now $500,000? That $450,000 Ballantine home is now $700,000 to $800,000? Or was this a slow and gradual process? I made the monthly market reports. I've been doing it for 4 years now. We literally went over the numbers every single month. They were going up, 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 then it was stagnant, up, up, up. And all of a sudden, it feels like everything shifted overnight. It feels like we just woke up one morning and it is so unaffordable. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. It was a very, very gradual process. And the problem with that is things were happening so slow that it just kind of gets past you. Hindsight is always 2020, but the reason I wanted to mention this is because I believe that right now we are going through the same gradual process, but downward. And I'm going to go over the months of inventory. I'm going to go over the supply with you, which is probably going to shock you. And I'm also going to go over all of the prices, average sales price and median sales price, which unfortunately is also going to shock you. But I'll tell you right now, we've seen a gigantic increase in months of inventory. You guys always know if there's anything I can ever answer for you personally about the real estate market, about a general neighborhood, subdivision, zip code, you can always call, text, or email me. All my information is right here, and I'd love the opportunity to speak with you and see how I can help you in this real estate market. But now, before we hop into the numbers, I just want to go over what I'm personally seeing in the market right now. First thing, this summer is very slow. Comparing it to the last 3 summers we've had, it is extremely slow. We are not seeing the level of activity that we had previously. And I'll tell you right now, closed sales are almost down 20%. They are almost down a fifth, which is a huge deal. Second thing, open houses. These last couple of years in the summer, I've kept my eye on certain houses that were in certain price ranges, in certain areas, and I would drive by to these open houses just to see the level of activity. Right now, it is very dull. This is not my personal opinion. This is something that a lot of realtors in the Charlotte area are starting to experience. I'll go into some of these open houses, talk to the agents, and a lot of the time, as long as they're being truthful, the biggest comment I get is a lot slower than they thought it was going to go. They did the marketing, they did the postcards, they did the ads, they did the social media blasts, but the turnout wasn't as expected. And this is what I'm seeing myself personally for some of the houses that I've been keeping an eye on. And it's very easy to do. Mark out the zip code, mark out the neighborhood, mark out the territory of some places that you're interested in buying, and just keep your eye on those couple of houses that are for sale and see the activity, see how fast they are selling for, and when they close, see what price they closed at. This is going to give you the most accurate representation. You cannot take a whole chunk, a whole zip code, a giant area, and consider all those stats to be similar. Right now, you need to niche down in a specific area, a specific neighborhood, so you have the most accurate information. Another thing is price discrepancies. I'm seeing prices all over the board that really do not make sense. My neighborhood, when the market was at its peak, we'd be lucky to have 2 houses for sale in my neighborhood, and those houses would sell within the first day or two. Now, right now, as we sit here today, there is 7 homes for sale in my neighborhood. And some of them are priced accordingly, and some of them are just way overpriced. So it really depends on the owners of the home as far as pricing goes. You can show somebody 3 similar homes that sold in the neighborhood at $500,000, but We all have that emotional attachment, so they think theirs is worth 550. Unfortunately, you go to the market, you don't get the level of activity, and you end up selling for much lower than if you were to have priced it aggressively from the beginning. I just had a listing in Highland Creek, 8202 Laurel Run Drive, listed at 525. It sold in the first day. So as far as that aspect goes, buyers are still out here. There's still multiple offer situations, but I'm telling you, there's something different in the air about this market. It is not the same. I really believe we're on that gradual decline and we will start to see prices come down. This is a gradual process. It's not going to happen overnight, but in 12 to 18 months from now, looking back, some people might look, damn, how did I miss that? Maybe why didn't I sell my home when I had the chance? How did that sneak up on me? The same way the prices snuck up on people is the same way the prices are going to sneak down on people. I hope that makes sense. One last thing that I want to touch on that is going to be going into effect in August is something very, very big. The real estate industry is going through a major change. A change where now potentially buyers, the people that have to pay these premiums, the people that have to pay the closing costs, the inspections, the surveys, any other special things they want to do with the house, will also have to start paying a buyer's agent to represent them. We're still working out the kinks and seeing what will happen. But I will tell you right now, depending on what happens, depending how the market reacts, I personally think it is not going to be good. We will probably see a mass exodus of real estate agents in the next 12 months. I honestly think maybe half are going to be gone. And unfortunately, a lot of unrepresented buyers will get hurt. A lot of unrepresented buyers will lose a lot of money, and there will be a lot of lawsuits happening in the future. Now, I do think this is going to majorly affect this real estate market depending on how things get handled in August, September, October. We're going to start to see these little things play out and see if it's going to take a toll on the market, which I think 100% it will. I could talk about this subject for another couple hours, but let's jump into the actual numbers. Let's talk about the stats for the month of June so you have all the information you need to make the best possible decision for yourself and for your family. So in regards to new listings, we had 5,271 new listings in the month of June, and that is an 11.8% increase from this time last year. More importantly, look at the 2 years prior. 2022, we had a 4.8% increase. 23, we had a 26.4% decrease. And now we are up again double digits. In all honesty, I was expecting the new listings to be up closer to 15% or so. But again, this summer feels very, very abnormal. And these July numbers, based off some of the activity I've seen in the last week, don't look that good. But again, 4th of July weekend, things were a little bit mixed up. A lot of travel happening. So we'll see if we can hop back on track with those numbers. Now moving on to pending sales. Pending sales, we came in at 4,127, and that is a 7.6% increase from this time last year. Look at the 2 years prior. They were both in the negatives. So essentially, it's showing there was more activity this June than there was the last 2 years prior to, which is very interesting. It almost seems like these price premiums and these rates aren't doing much to turn people away in regards to pending sales. Now we have more new listings as far as percentages versus pending sales, so we're starting to build that inventory up. Now the number that I want you guys to pay attention to the most is not pending sales, is not new listings, it is closed sales. how many sales were actually closed. How many people submitted an offer, got their offer accepted, and actually signed the paperwork, transferred the money, and got the keys to their new home. Closed sales came in at 3,635. That is an 18.4% decrease from this time last year. Almost a fifth of the closed sales has gone away. Now, I've said it about 100 times in this video. Gradual process. Look at the 2 years prior. 22, we had an 8.8% decrease in closed sales. 23, a 14.9% decrease in closed sales, and now an 18.4% decrease in sales. These higher prices are keeping a lot of buyers away, and there's so many people that would love to buy a house, but they can't afford to do so. It is the most unaffordable time for people to buy a home than there has ever been. And one of the things that scares me most about it being the most unaffordable time to buy a home ever is our government is genius, right? They just did an amazing job keeping the rates so low, making the prices go so high, and just printing trillions of dollars. And I would not be surprised if, due to the low unaffordability, if banks say, you know what? I know you can't afford this house on a 30-year fixed mortgage. What if we give you a 40-year? What if we give you a 45-year? Do you think that would make you feel better? Now all of a sudden, what happens? Nobody is going to be looking at the actual price of the home. They're just going to be fixated on the monthly payment, because all of a sudden your $3,000 mortgage with a 40-year, a 45-year loan just went down to $2,000. And we all know how smart the government is, and that would turn out wonderfully. I pray to God that does not happen. As long as they keep the rates high where they are now, we're starting to see the balance of the market take into effect. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to get into the average sales price and the median sales price, which might contradict a little bit of what I just said, but I'm telling you, there's changes in the market happening. You can see it for yourself. You just need to know where and how to look. Average sales price came in at just under $524,000. That is a 7.9% increase from this time last year. This is the highest average sales price that Charlotte has ever seen. Why is this happening? Influx of people. Charlotte is one of the very rare markets that is still doing relatively good right now. We're going to go over what needs to happen for us to start to see a little bit more relief. But again, take the average sales price with a grain of salt. Average sales price takes into consideration houses priced at $200, $300, and also houses priced at $3, $4, $5+ million. Pay attention to the median sales price, which gives you a better, accurate representation of what's happening. And unfortunately, I don't have good news for you at the median sales price either. Median sales price came in at just above $409,000, a 5.4% increase from this time last year, and the highest median sales price we have ever seen. I thought we hit our peak in June of 22 being at 400,000, but we just surpassed it. It's hard to make sense of this data because a lot of it seems like it's contradictory, but the median sales price is just above 409, which is crazy to think about. Let's get into days on market and see how quickly these homes are selling. Days on market came in at 31, and that is a 3.3% increase from this time last year. This is a good broad number. In order to get the most accurate number, look at the neighborhood. Look at the recently sold houses within the closest proximity of you. There have been a bunch of sellers that have their house on the market for a couple of weeks, and they've called me. I find it odd because I don't want to overstep any boundaries, but you hired a realtor, your realtor that is representing you, that you hired, is the person you should be asking these questions. But sometimes my my curiosity gets the best of me and I end up looking up the information, seeing if it's normal, if it's abnormal. So you really need to look at that specific neighborhood. There are certain neighborhoods that literally take 45 to 60 days to sell on average. Now, again, if you're priced aggressively, there's always a price that sells a house within the first couple days, within the first couple of weeks, and then there's a price that takes a couple of months. It doesn't always work out the way it's intended, but you always have those three options depending on your selling situation. So just keep that in mind. Next up, we have percentage of the original list price received, which came in at 97.6, and that is a 0.9% decrease from this time last year. This is just a fancy way of telling you that you can expect on average to pay 2.4% below the listed price of a home when that house is closed. Again, varies on a case-by-case basis, a house-by-house situation. If a house just hit the market, they have multiple offers, you're not getting that. You're most likely having to go over asking price. If a house has been sitting on the market for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, this is a lot more negotiable and a lot more realistic to see. Now, remember when I said it's a gradual process? Months of inventory came in at 2.3 months of inventory, and that is a 43.8% increase from this time last year. If you were following me, if you were watching my channel, do you remember we had 0.7, 0.8 months of inventory? We have 2.3 months of inventory right now. Now, unfortunately, we thought more inventory equals pressure on the house prices to come down. We haven't seen that yet start to take place, but guess where we are? We took a time machine back to 2018 and 2019. We have not seen 2.3 months of inventory since 2018 and 2019. I got into the business in 2018. So at that time, it was a hit or miss. There was still multiple offers happening. You needed to be relatively aggressive, but not everything was flying off the shelf. And it is the same market right now. Not every house is flying off the shelf. A lot of them are sitting for weeks. We're seeing a lot of price decreases. We see a lot of sellers not being able to get what they want, so they're taking their house off the market. And right now is peak season. We could see months of inventory keep dipping up as long as our closed sales and as long as our pending sales are lower than our new listings. We're going to see this number start to stack up. Once we get to 3 months of inventory, in all honesty, I think it's going to be relatively the same on what we're seeing right now. Realistically, we need 3.5 to 4 months of inventory for the market to completely shift over and buyers start to experience some good like the sellers did these last 4 years. Call, text, or email me. Thank you for watching this video. If there's anything I can ever do for you, all my contact information is right here. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.